All right, so this video here is going to be a really simple one, just describing a very important automation that powers a lot of funnels that get built by some of the clients that we work with. This one is for whenever someone fills in a type form. So a lot of people run application funnels, and those application funnels have a number of steps, including an opt-in, and also a type form after the VSL, which takes people to a Calendly link if they have, met the qualification terms. So in this case, what we're doing in this automation is we are using Typeform to watch responses, and then we're searching for leads, and then depending on a number of things, we're doing a couple of actions. So I'm going to explain the logic of this so that this is something that you can think about if your systems are done in a very similar way. And I'm also going to show you what the little intricacies are inside of how this was built as well. Because if I go out and have a look at an example, I can show you what it looks like when the form is filled. So the first thing that happens is we get a response, and this response has, a number of things, including all of the mappable answers based on the form itself. And then we have this here, which is a very interesting automation, or a very interesting filter that we put on the automation based on the logic of the form. So the way that the form works is whenever anybody, so this is a form that it's basically like an opt-in form for anybody who tries to book in based on, in this case, the content of the offer owner's coaching program. So they go to the content, and then once they get into the content, there's a link to this type form. They fill in the type form, and the type form takes them through a couple of flows. The first thing is just to tell them, hey, fill this out, this quick form. This is a fitness program for Christian men. So the question is, this is for men only. Are you a man? Are you a Christian? Or are you not offended by, Christianity in as far as like a learning platform or a learning modality? And if they say, no, I'm not a Christian and I will be offended, or I am not a man, they get sent to this redirect, which basically says, based on your form selections, we've determined that we're not fit. Wish you the best. Enjoy the rest of the content that we make if you still want to consume it. And then if they don't answer anything that will disqualify them, it goes through the rest of this flow. Now, why is this important? Because if they are disqualified, we do not want them to show up in our CRM whatsoever. And the only way to delineate if somebody who has filled in the form has landed on any of these steps is to confirm that they did not land on what the actual page is. And the page has something called an ending. And this ending is basically just a code that is attached to the end of the URL, a bit like this. And if that code matches the code of this page, then what it will do is it will remove them from the filter. So if they aren't a DQ, then it means that they got to this part here. Now, that was like the first half of sort of like what was nice about this type form. The second half is the fact that we're using partial responses. So once we get to here, we get to what's called the data enrichment stage, which is entering your email and your phone number. And then once the email and phone number has been entered, we hit a partial submission point. And this partial submission point will trigger a webhook, which we can then use to do a bunch of stuff. So we basically have the contact information. So if they've left after this, before this, they got to the end of this, we still capture their information, and this automation will allow us to do that. So what this does, and this is an example of a completed response. So I'll see if I can pull up an example of a partial. So yeah, this is an example of a partial where we got the email address and the phone number, but they didn't finish the entire automation. And then what we did was we put them through a couple of filters. So this is a search function inside of Close, and the query is, it's basically just the basic queries inside of Close, where we're looking for any lead where the text inside of the lead contains an email address. And if it contains an email address, then we can basically copy this filter, and then we'll paste it and then replace email with the actual value from the mapped field inside of Typeform. So here we're looking for this email right here at yahoo.com, and then it returned 0 bundles, which means that it wasn't found. Now, if it wasn't found, we know that because the partial response is the first thing that happens, we can basically confirm that if this webhook was triggered and the person is not found inside of our CRM, then it means that this is a partial response and they have also not been found. So we create the lead and then we create the opportunity, and then every single time someone goes through this automation, we search for the row inside of Google Sheets, and if none is found, we add it. So this is like it's kind of like a sheet that's powering a lot of stuff that a bunch of setters are using on the back end, as well as the CRM, which they're slowly integrating in. And then if they are also not there, we also add a tag to a subscriber in ConvertKit. And then if we look at the rest of the flow takes people, if they have been found and it's a partial response, we update the lead, and then we do the rest of these steps, which is the Google Sheets step and the ConvertKit step. But if they are a complete response, we still want to get their information. So what we do is we update the lead and we update the rest of the custom fields inside of the leads, and basically inside of the lead. And what this will do is it will essentially take all of that information, and because everything's based on drop downs and we have very predictable text on all of these things, we can use that to power the smart lists to determine who is a great lead based on their score, based on, you know, what is inside of all of those smart fields. So for example, we can take it such that anybody who has, you know, a current body weight of above X amount, who felt called to work with them and is prepared to spend more than, you know, $500 as a lead, that could be priority A. Anybody that is, you know, 2,500 to $5,000 could be priority B, and $5,000 and above can be priority C. Obviously, if you flip them around, it's like that's what the actual priority is. So we take the complete responses and we update the lead, because the partial response always creates the lead if they haven't been found. So we will always create the lead and create the opportunity. If for whatever reason they did, for example, a partial response on one form and then they came back to another, and they went to another form and they went through here, they may be found, and then they'll go through this slot here, which is the partial response, to update the lead. And then we create the opportunity and update the opportunity and so on and so forth, and that will add everything. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to fill out the actual type form and show you how this works. All right, so I am a man. Yes, so we'll take this one here. I am an entrepreneur. Enter my email address. I'll use this one here, and then my phone number. We'll put this one here, and then go into United Kingdom. Now, once we hit this stage, we can already see that this automation is run. So what's happened is Typeform went, search for the lead is found, and it was a partial response. I'm not done filling in the form yet, but you can see that the moment I hit that stage, partial submission, it's now sent off a Slack message and updated the lead to say, hey, this is the email, this is the phone number, click here to contact and claim the lead. And the lead ID is already in there, and it will take me straight to the lead themselves. So that's the first step. If I continue filling this out, we'll see what's the current body weight. What is my current body weight right now? I think it's like 200 pounds, I guess. Why would you feel cool to work with us? I like that you work specifically with so on and so forth. The assessment is free, $4,000. Submit. And then it will take me to Calendly, because that is the page that will take me there. Now, if I go back, another automation is run, and this automation has added the rest of the information that I've just filled out. So we have inside of here, we have, you know, why would you feel cool to work? Inbound form, yes. Current body weight, 200 pounds. What are you currently prepared to invest? $4,000. So now I'm going to get peppered by their setters. But this is exactly how this would work. It will run the first time. If nobody goes through, then what will happen is there will be, if it's a partial response, shall I say, then the lead will be added to close. A lead will be added to the Google Sheet, and a tag will be added to the customer. And then if the when the completed response comes through, the rest of the fields get submitted. And that is the entire process right there. And that is something that would be this. You can duplicate this for all of the lead sources that you have, or all of the type forms that you have that form this particular, action. These guys have 4 different versions of them because of the different marketing channels that they're using. And you can start to compare which source is generating the most number of leads. And you can start to map that out using dashboards and using other things as well over time to determine the distribution and the growth of each of your marketing channels based on the amount of MQLs that you're getting.